The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Nature has long been a source of remedies, from soothing salves to potent medicines. Yet, it's rare for a single natural ingredient to become the foundation of a brand. A brand with the vision to imagine a world where beeswax transcends candles, nourishing skin and lips, and where honey isn't just a sweetener, but a cornerstone of natural beauty. One brand achieved this, transforming one beekeeper's journey from rural Maine into a global phenomenon, with millions of devoted fans reaching for their iconic yellow tube. It's a recipe for retail success, an effective product, a compelling origin story, an unexpected spokesperson, and undeniable buzz. And that's why this week's On Brand is on Burt's Bees.
We're all jazzed up, really having a cow. You want your favorite show and it's on right now. It's on Brand.
Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa. I am Jon.
I am Marisa.
Oh. Okay. Not gonna lie. Burt's Bees is on my list. I don't think it's on a list I gave to Alistair.
Oh, okay.
I think like a year ago, I started lightly looking into it. Not enough to know the show.
Okay, great. I'm glad it was not recent.
I can confidently say this is going to be on brand for me, so we can skip that at the end. I only use... I mean, my main product is the main product. I love
the chapstick.
Their spearmint normal chapstick. I think it's fantastic. I think at home I currently have 8 or 12 tubes of it because it was on clearance at Christmas. A 4-pack was down to like $2.
Oh my gosh.
So I did a little stock up.
Okay.
Because I tend to lose them. Like I keep them in my 5th pocket.
Yes.
I've currently lost one. I dropped it in my living room like a month ago and I refused to open a new one because I know that
It's
one's
in
in the
there.
living room somewhere and I cannot find it.
Can I tell you something about Al?
Yeah.
He exclusively uses tubes of lip balm completely 100% before losing them.
Yeah.
He is an emptier.
Tell me something about Al that I couldn't have guessed. I might get 3 strokes in and then lost it.
I saw him. He was squeezing up from the bottom, trying to eke a little dribble of Aquaphor out of his lip balm. And I'm like, you haven't lost that yet? He was like, no, you just put it in your pocket. Then when you get back inside, you put it on your desk and then you go to bed and then you wake up and put it in your pocket again. Where are you losing it? I'm like, ow, 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 ow.
Yeah, that is not surprising. All right, so why did you pick Burt's Bees?
Well, this is a brand that I really love and feel it evokes a personal sense connection, something. When you see this brand, you see this logo, the imagery, it stirs something in you. And it stirs something in me quite personally because the message of the company is one that I align very closely with is a return to the land, the natural way of doing these. As I said, I'm always racing to the prairie. Burt's Bees, compared to a lot of brands we've done recently, is very in line with that. So this one I feel very tuned in. So I'll actually spoil it. It's on brand for me also.
Yeah.
And it was suggested by SW in our Patreon chat. It had been on my radar for a while, and then SW said, Burt's Bees, I've always wondered how they started, and I feel like they were an early example of a natural, eco-focused brand. Also, is Burt real and or hot? So we'll get into all that later, but this is...
Yes and no.
This is
Maybe when he was younger.
Yeah.
He was beardy. He looks like the cartoon.
I will tell you, when he's younger... Yes.
Okay, I could see that.
Yes. It's harder to be hot when you're an eccentric old coot.
Yeah. It's hard.
Things are not in your favor. But
Old men are not hot. That is our first t-shirt.
Okay. Canonically, we should have 2 t-shirts. One that says old men can be hot, and then yours is old men cannot be hot. And then we'll see which one sells better.
Yours just has a warehouse full of them. Mine are flying. Everyone in Atwater's wearing old men aren't hot shirts. Even old men.
That's a mean shirt.
You made it. Oh, wait. No, I did.
No, you did.
Well, there you go.
But those tubes of that minty lip balm, I've always been a fan of those. I've been a fan of their personal care products. They had like a makeup line. They have like baby soaps and bubble baths and things like that.
I went through a body wash moment. I don't know if they still, they must still do body washes. I do love anything with honey in it.
Me too.
This is a different brand, but I use Ricola honey and herb cough drops.
That's a good brand.
You can have it.
Oh, well.
Okay. You love a medicine. That's yours. Next week.
I love medicine.
But yeah, I love a honey. Yesterday we'll tease it more later. We did a Doughboys episode, and after we ate, I downed a honey tube like a shot glass. They had like honey sticks in their little coffee thing. One, I just love anything free. I was like stealing nuts, and
you did leave. You got like a jerky stick.
Which I gotta say, their jerky sticks that they have on hand is not even a brand I've heard of, but it's called like Nick's Stick, and I feel like Nick makes them get that
maybe
just because his name's in it.
It sounds fancy. It's one of those cool offices that has like premium snacks. You're not getting like a Frito assorted chip bag.
No, and like when we got there, they already had a lot of different types of sodas, both not refrigerated and in the refrigerator. And while we were there, got a huge shipment of more sodas.
Oh my God. I mean, having like a drink fridge.
I told them that. Yesterday.
Nice.
It is on one of my bucket list goals, ice maker Avi. Actually, no, I came up with this. I extended the ice idea while I was there. A refrigerator that's dedicated only to soda, that has two doors that open that are both glass so you can see all the sodas and they're all lined perfectly, and a bottom drawer that has different sections of all the kinds of ice.
It's okay. I was going to say, up until you said different sections, that you're just describing living in a 7-Eleven.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. No.
A glass case with doors with beverages inside, an ice maker, a rollers of hot dogs.
When you walk into my house, it goes bing, bong. And then like you only get a soda if you can use a debit card, you can pay cash. I sell lottery tickets.
Bucket list stuff. Owning a 7-Eleven.
I work at 7-Eleven before I die. There, I said it.
Okay, great. The different ice, that does sound really fun. So you have a little section for
Thank you for
nugget
supporting
ice.
that. There's so many things you don't support.
No,
you're like, but that you're in.
I have been trying, and I even like went to my twerk out class. They had a countertop ice maker in their little like snack refreshment section. And I was like, when I looked at it, I was like, these do not take up a lot of space at all.
Okay. I don't know which one you saw. I recently was at someone's house who had one, and I was like, this takes, I don't think you understand how small my space is.
I feel like it was like 10 by 10. Let me loose in your house for 20 minutes. I can find a foot by foot space. Foot by foot by foot. Give me a square cube.
My apartment is 385 square feet.
Yeah.
If you need 10 minutes in there to find space, you will figure out the space in 30 seconds.
I will have to move some things around.
You'll say there is no space. And hopefully you'll find my Burt's Bees chapstick. It is somewhere in the living room. I feel like it's
under the couch.
I looked under the couch. I feel like it's one of those things like it rolled and somehow I didn't see it rolled out the door, down the street.
Genius. Make them
square.
Not cylinders.
Make them square like our lips.
Yeah, square like our lips.
Hello, sharks.
Make them square like our lips, because rolling is the number one reason for chapstick loss. Or I should say lip balm chapstick, as we know is a brand. Lip balm loss.
Lip balm loss. There's your 90s band. Oh my God, did you see Lip Balm Loss is reuniting for Coachella? I hope they do chaps, lips. They're a big hit.
All their songs were about lips.
Listen, all fun aside, we have plenty of time to get in the show, but let's talk about what happened recently. Your husband, David, Alistair, and me, begrudgingly, and we'll get into all of it. Not begrudgingly the experience, but a lot of shit went down. But we did our 100th escape room, probably our 8th.
This is a tradition. Apparently, we do 2 escape rooms a year, like guarantee. It's nice to slip another one in, mid-season, but we'll definitely...
You said that in high school, didn't you?
I wish. We definitely try to slip one in February 14th for Valentine's Day. That's a tradition that's been going on for 5 years. And then one for Halloween, which ideally is a spooky theme.
We do a spooky one? I don't even know what we do.
Yes.
Okay, so yes. Okay, well, there's so many things to unpack here.
Okay.
Let's just unpack how it all goes down. So Marissa's given everyone the speech on how hard it is to get me to do things. She just has to do them, and then I say yes. I walk in to do a record. She's like, we're doing an escape room on Valentine's Day. It's like, oh, I'm actually house sitting that day. Maybe too late. I've already got it. And then she gets it. And then she's like, oh, I didn't look. It's actually 400 miles away. And I'm like, oh, cool. So then like later that day, I talked to Alistair. This is my POV. I talked to Alistair. I'm like, oh, like trying to get a jump on it. I'm like, oh, okay. So this thing's far away. I'm going to be house sitting. Maybe we could do the record later so that I'll already be over here. And because we always drive together. I appreciate that.
Which is funny because a lot of times you like to have your own car.
As I get older, sometimes I just don't want to have to deal with the driving part of it. And this was far away, and you had made it, so you can drive. So I was like, great, no problem. I guess we didn't tell Marissa that. So then the record day comes. She's like, we have to record at 10 a.m. I'm like, no, we're doing it later, so we can all go to the escape room. I can't. I decided to have children, and that is too complicated for me. So we have to do it early. I'm like, okay, I'm in Sherman Oaks, so I guess I'll drive over there now and then come back and then come back. And then so I come over here, we do the record. I was like, hey, you guys, okay, so we've got this thing. It's far. Can you guys just pick me up on the way there? And then I don't have to come back over here. Yeah, no problem. That's absolutely, they looked up. It'll take this much extra time. Sure, no problem. Great. I go back to Sherman Oaks. It's like an hour, 2 hours before we have to go. I get a text. I decided to have children and they're not ready, so we can't pick you up now. What? I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, this is far, guys. If you don't live in LA, this is like by the airport in a place we've never go on a Friday night to drive LA is very challenging. I looked it up at that point. It said it was going to take me an hour and a half, I think, to get there. I was losing interest fast. Long story long. I was like, we're going back and forth. You guys are like, well, okay, you don't have to go, but we'd love it if you did. And I'm like, you made all these wrong choices. I'm sad, but I don't want to drive. And another big part of the story is this escape room is Titanic themed. So
yes, that's a huge part of the story.
A huge part of the story. So I felt like I had to go for the show. So then I ended up like leaving with the exact amount right at time to get.
How long did it take you to get there?
It took me as long as it said. I think an hour and 8 minutes. It had died down a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I get there and it's in a weird parking lot. I'm not even kidding. I pull into the parking lot at 8:08. I could not find a place to park. I'm calling the company.
Yeah.
I'm like, just tell them to go without me. It was such a mess.
Well, and you did a funny thing too, because I could see, I was texting with you and I was like, okay, he's not coming. And then as we're there, I'm like, I wonder if he did come. And I check
we can track each other.
I track John. I go, oh, he's like, I guess he is coming. He's like close by. If I hadn't done that, you, instead of texting me and go, hey, I'm on my way, wait for me to go in.
I was too mad. I was stewing. This is another. I think we're gonna have a weekly stew. This is what Al loves a stew. This is my weekly stew.
It would have taken an extra 30 minutes to pick you up. We had to
Al
leave.
said it would take an extra 15.
No, he said he didn't say that was a misread.
No,
he said an hour and 15.
I don't want to argue in front of the freaks.
I'm just saying
we have an illusion that we're a beautiful, happy couple.
You said your place. I'm going to say mine. Right. It would have taken an extra 30 minutes. We were already. It would take the same time that it took you to get to the place. It was an hour for both of us to get there, basically. The bedtime had to be exactly right to even make it at all in an hour.
You decided to have children.
They are my legacy. The pod and the children are my legacies.
That's all you're leaving behind.
That's all I care about.
All I have is my storage unit and my octopus. So we're all leaving something behind.
This is a very John thing. Instead of texting me and going, because like it's an escape room, you have an appointment time, and if we go in and John's not there, it's like, well, he can't like join in. It's like the door is closed. We're on the Titanic.
I learned on this call that I can.
But it was funny because your pride or whatever it is, you didn't say, hey, I decided to come. So
no, I'll tell you exactly what happened. I know because I did it. So I'm on my way there, stuck in traffic.
Why not call me, text me and say, hey, I decided to come. Can you wait for me?
Because I'm stewing.
Why? What did I do wrong? It took both of us an hour to get there.
It's just all of you. And so I called the company, which I thought I was calling the place itself, but I think I was calling like a hotline for the escape room. And I was like, listen, I got to say, like, I'm on my way to an escape room. I think my appointment is at 8:05. My friends are there. I literally told her, I was like, I'm mad at them.
Okay.
I'm stewing right now. I don't want them to know I've decided to come, but I'm going to be there. So just don't tell them I'm coming, but don't let them go in yet until I'm there.
Psychotic.
This is, normal.
Okay.
Very normal.
Let the listeners weigh in.
I feel like all of our listeners right now are like, yeah. That's how I would have handled it too. And so she was like, you don't want me to tell him? I was like, listen, I don't know. I don't care. Just don't let him go in. And this is before I had gotten to the insane parking lot.
Yeah,
we were in the middle of nowhere. I don't understand how every spot was taken. I started to drive erratically.
There was a Dave & Buster's there.
There was, and an Islands. Two of the hottest things in LA. So then, I'm not even joking that I spent, I think, 12 minutes driving around for a spot. And that's when I called her back, and I was like, hey, have you let him in? She's like, and then I realized she was not actually there. She's like, you can join them later. I was like, just let him in.
I mean, it does tarnish the illusion a little bit.
I was like, I was like, okay. I was like, I am so angry right now. I can't find a spot. She's like, go to the 3rd floor. I was like, just let him in. She's like, I can hold them, but you get a time penalty the longer I hold them. I was like, just let him go. Who cares? Then I became passive aggressive. Then I found a spot as soon as I hung up with her.
Now she's on your stew list.
Yeah, I'm still stewing with her. And then I got a spot and I got in, and they hadn't even talked to you guys. That's when I realized that
they had come out and they were like, are you guys ready? And then I said, oh, we're waiting for a friend. And she goes, oh, okay, well, let me know when you guys are ready. So we could have, in theory, just been like, I guess John's not coming. And then we go in, and then you come in and you
look at your thing. He's 4 feet away, but I guess he's not coming.
If I hadn't looked at that.
Well, that's why we're able to track each other. That we have safeties in place for when I'm stewing. That is a safety stew.
It's a safety. It's an insurance policy for the inevitable stewing when we try to do something fun together for Valentine's Day.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Okay, so that happened. And then I just have to say, one of the best escape rooms that I've ever been to.
As soon as we walked in, my first thought, this is how much I care about you. My first thought was, thank God John came, because this is so phenomenal that if you were stewing so hard that you decided not to come, and then we would have to hide and be like, it was good. And you'd be like, why'd you say it all high-pitched and weird like that? No, it was fine. It was, a little, it was good. It was so
It was new.
amazing.
I think it was new. I think it was recently built. It was Titanic themed, which I came for the freaks. Because can you imagine we would either just not be able to talk about it or be like, I decided not to go on the running joke we've done for 100 episodes.
Without the pod, you would not. You would not.
The pod definitely saved it.
The production value was phenomenal. And I have heard that not all escape rooms are, I don't know, maybe as high caliber, but in LA, the talent pool for that kind of work, I feel like is so high because it's a lot of production designers and story people, and there's actors in it, and everybody's just, so talented in that way who they come here to do that. So it's so good.
If you haven't done an escape room, a lot of times you have to solve puzzles, and every time you solve a puzzle, something will happen that helps you advance. And a lot of times the thing that happens is so subtle, like a drawer will slightly open or a light will turn on somewhere and you don't really see it. This one, you would do something and a big event would happen. You're like, holy shit. You were really kind of in it. I did think there was going to be a water element to it. I thought there'd be water at our feet.
We have done one that had a water element, which was fun. They were like, you may get wet.
Yeah. If anything was going to have water, I thought it would be a Titanic one. I mean, whatever. It didn't, but it was still lovely.
Also, there's some escape rooms that you go to when we have done these where they're a little rusty and crusty, and it'll be one of these stones, and it's one of the styrofoam stones has a handprint. It's weathered with time. The paint is cracking and peeling off. It's been picked up. That's the right one to push. But this one was brand new, and we can actually share the trailer for it because there's if anybody wants to see the escape room we did, it was so fun. We should also share
share the apples maps to it from where I was and from where you are, so everyone can see how far it was.
And we'll have to do it on a Friday. I think it was a Friday night, so everyone knows what the traffic was.
Everything is red. All you have to know is every street was red.
Okay, perfect. And then I'll also include like my son's like bedtime ritual that he needs before I can leave because he's 3. You know, for me to leave 30 minutes early, that means my mom's putting him down. It's like he's not going to get scratches. He's not going to get a song. So
and then I should probably include some sort of essay on like why I stew, like what's happened to me in my past, like what could prevent stewing.
That's going to be longer than an essay. Maybe it's past life. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's past life.
I could be past life. Sure. I've had a hard past life.
Mm-hmm. If there are any other stewards, we'll call them stewards in the audience.
I'm sure everyone stews at some point.
If you're prone to stewing, I don't think I...
Yeah, you guys don't seem like you stew.
I stew. Yeah, you stew.
Okay.
If you're going to stew on that.
Can we wrap this episode up? I gotta go home and stew.
The thing you've been saying you do all episode for 20 minutes is stew, and I'm like, yeah, you stew. You're like, okay.
I know. It's like me joking about being gay for my whole life, and it's like someone's like, you're gay. I'm like, how dare you?
Someone can tell you're gay.
All right, so there's that. Oh, and no, I mean, spoiler. I'm already going to post on our social media with the nerds content, but we escaped. We are undefeated. We have escaped every escape room we've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like this was another one where. A lot of times when you do an escape room, they'll randomly give you a clue before you. They're like, if you want a clue, all you have to do is ask. And then sometimes you'll be like kind of struggling with something, and they're like, you do this. And we're like, we didn't want to know. Because a lot of times we finish like 18 minutes early.
Yeah, we would have maybe gotten to it.
You know what they could have let us do? Stew on it a little bit.
Oh, that's what that should be part of the intake form is. Do you want hints or do you prefer to stew?
I'm going to call it at some point. We're going to have an I'm stewing merch.
Stew on you.
Stew on you.
Well, I love that. That was it was a fantastic experience, and thank God it was good, because if you had driven an hour for a shitty escape room, boy, we would all be.
And then we went to Islands. We got a shareable basket of fries that were well seasoned. We got sliders. We got now that I think about it, that Sunday I'm going to stew on. That was a shitty Sunday. Yes. But everything else was great.
Islands on Valentine's Day, we had to wait like 20 minutes. It was like a packed restaurant that looked like it sat like 250 people, and it was 100% capacity. And we got the sliders. It comes with 4 little mini sliders and a basket of fries. This is actually a perfect evening. You go to an escape room and then you go to Islands. 4 friends have the time of their life.
80% stew.
80% stew. Sure. Every group of 4 friends has one person who stews.
Okay. Every group of friends has 3 people that deserve to be stewed.
Vote below. Do I deserve a stew?
All right. 1964. The health movement is kicking in.
You're kind of close. This is an interesting story. And if you have done any research on it, please zip your lip and keep it to yourself.
All right.
Keep
His
it to yourself.
His name's actually Robert. Robert's bees.
So this research was informed by a documentary that came out in 2014 called Burt's Buzz. So if you are curious about this story, if you want to know more about this man, I would highly recommend this documentary. It's on Apple TV Plus. I forget what they're called. Apple Plus.
Apple's so confusing. Oh man. Okay. Yeah.
He's saving that for a Patreon.
Yeah. All right.
Write it down because you're going to forget.
It's on my list.
Okay, good. Burt's Buzz is available for rent on Apple streaming, which we've talked about this, by the way. $3.99. They're saying, oh yeah, you can rent it. It expires in 48 hours.
As soon as you hit play, you have exactly 48 hours. The amount of time it takes to get Strawberry from Japan to Erewhon to watch this film.
Do you know how long it takes me to watch a movie? We had to watch Time Cop in 3 parts last week.
I had to watch episode 2 of White Lotus in 3 parts. I can't get through 50 minutes of just concentrating.
What do? You fall
Stew.
asleep?
Pause to stew.
Your pot is gonna bubble and boil over. It is so full of stew.
No, I'm not stewing. I'm TikToking.
Let's shake it off, because we're gonna return to a simpler time, a folksier time. We're returning to the land, the simple things in life. There's no stew here.
Until it turns corporate, and then I'm gonna stew.
Even a time when it could turn to stew, it doesn't even really turn to stew.
Good.
We're choosing high roads. We're operating from our highest self.
I hope someone looking for podcasts next week search the word stew, because we're coming up.
If you search the transcript of this episode for the word stew, 180 instances. So if you watch the documentary, just to introduce you a little bit to Burt, you get a sense of a man who At first, you see him. The man on the package is the man with the big beard. He's an eccentric old hippie. He lives in the backwoods of Maine.
If he was gay, he would be known as a bear.
If he was gay, I mean, he's skinny though. Can you be a skinny
he is?
bear?
Oh, I thought he was chubby.
He's quite skinny.
Oh, okay. Then he would be an otter.
He'd be an otter. He's a classic otter, big wiry beard. He lives in a 400 square foot converted turkey coop in Parkman, Maine, rural Maine.
400 square feet, small. That's the size of my place.
That's right. He has a refrigerator, a radio, no hot water, a wood stove, and a golden retriever. So he is living like off the grid.
Yeah.
He calls his home camp because he built it 40 years earlier with scrap lumber and windows he found at the dump.
That's
so
cute.
This is an interesting man. He's somebody who says, you'll see this in the documentary, he has so many good one-liners. A good day is when no one shows up and you don't have to go anywhere.
I agree.
You might find that you have a lot in common with old Burt.
I want to get up, make my coffee, and get back in bed.
Here's where you differ. When someone asked him if he needs the internet, he replied, like a hole in the head.
Oof. Yeah, you're very different on that.
So he's a very odd guy, and he might almost come across as like a little maybe standoffish or closed off and detached, but there's something about him that is extremely likable and very compelling. And this tenderness that he has kind of shines through in his, like the way he talks about the land and the love of his simple life. And he loves oatmeal in the morning.
Okay.
Al. He'll even like tear up when he talks about his golden retrievers. He'll drive
say his oatmeal.
His oatmeal. Well,
It
Al
had apples in it.
Al relates to that. He loved riding a motorcycle, and he had a sidecar that his golden retriever would ride in the sidecar. I mean, he's a darling guy. So watch Burt's Buzz for more of the story, the full picture, because it's just a really fun ride. So now, how do we get here? How did this man that you see, this bearded, wiry otter, become the face and name of $1 billion business? Let's get into it.
All right.
Burt was born Ingram Berg Shavitz in Manhattan on May 15, 1935. His dad was an actor and a sculptor, and he grew up in Long Island, where he was expected to join his grandfather's graphic design business.
I love
like
that.
you, graphic design.
Yeah.
Instead, he went to college in Delaware, and after being drafted and serving in the army in Germany, he moved into a $30 a month walk-up in New York City.
Those are, man, if he was still rent controlled.
Those were the days.
Wow. That's nice.
It was there that actually you and him have a lot in common. It was there he got an interest in photography, and he got attention for photographing parts of society that maybe weren't really widely photographed at that time. So he was photographing like Hasidic Jews on the streets of New York and civil rights movement, civil rights activists. He eventually got a job for Time Life and a press pass where he could then go anywhere. He has like full access to these like major events. He took pictures of John F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, civil rights movement, and the first Earth Day in 1970 in New York City.
I have such an affinity, and yes, it's before my time, but for Time Life and the Time Life photographers. It's an incredible archive of American and probably world history. They're just so wonderful.
Do you use that a lot in your research for
No,
documentaries?
but like I love looking at them. They're just like, I mean, that's
a good coffee table book.
Yeah.
For sure. And when people are talking about Burt, he was so talented. He really could have just had a career as a photojournalist. Like his eye was so good.
I didn't know that. I don't remember that he was a photographer.
Yeah, he has some really fantastic pictures. He had one picture that he took, and I mentioned this because he mentioned in the documentary, and he talks about it a lot. He took this one picture of his upstairs neighbor, and it's this older woman, and she's just sitting in the window of this city, and she never leaves. Like she just like lives in her apartment. She never leaves her house.
She died 3 years earlier. And
She
nobody
might
knows.
be a ghost. And he references this photo as when he took this photo and he's looking at this print, he thought, if I don't get out of New York City, that's going to be me. Like just never leaving his house, never going into the city. And maybe that was because he never really felt like home for him. He is truly like a living off the land kind of fella. So he loved New York, aspects of it. It gave him a great career, great chance to do his art. But he wanted a simpler rural life. So that was calling his name. He packed up a van that he borrowed from a friend, Volkswagen van, and he drove to the backcountry of Maine.
Volkswagen, that's another way we're on brand.
Yeah, you and him are really synced up.
Yeah.
And then one day after a rainstorm, Burt's driving along and he sees on a fence post a clump of honeybees.
Okay.
It just so happened that a friend the week earlier had given him an old beehive.
You guys want bees.
We do want bees. And after this, we really want bees, right, Al? Definitely. We really want bees. It's hard because They have to be kind of far away from people. You don't really have like a beehive buzzing outside your bathroom.
I wish I was a bee.
Why do you wish you were a bee, Jon?
So I could be far away from people. Stewing. Taking my honey.
You might just have to go to rural Maine like Burt. So he took this as a sign. He was like, I just got this beehive. Now I'm coming across these bees. It began with 1 hive, and then eventually it expanded into 26. Something he liked about bees and honey production, he says you don't have to destroy anything to get honey. You just use the same things over and over again. You put it in a canning jar, and you've got $12. So his hives, they were stolen once, and then he went and stole them back. And to make sure that they were kind of stamped with his name, he made a print on the side of his beehives that said Burt's Bees. So he would know if his beehives got stolen. They were marked with his name.
Love it. I do love that he's like hippy dippy and wants to be off grid, but also is like $12 is $12.
$12 is pretty good.
Even off the grid, you know, you need some cash.
That's right. You still got to buy your patchouli
toilet paper.
Yeah, patchouli toilet. That's what hippies use.
I'm going to stew.
What are you stewing on now, babe?
Just keep educating me.
So now it's 1984. Burt is almost 50 at this point.
1984, that's the Olympics are in America?
Olympics
Is that
are
the LA
in
Olympics? 1984, okay. They're about to be back.
And it's fun to think about, we talk about this, some brands where it's like somebody's 50 and the brand doesn't even really come to be yet.
Come to
be. I love that buzz. So Burt is almost 50, 1984. He's driving his yellow pickup truck when he sees a 33-year-old woman named Roxanne Quimby. She's hitchhiking on the side of the road from her lake cabin to the local post office. Roxanne is a local waitress. She's a single mother of twins, and she is also living an off-the-grid lifestyle with no electricity or hot water. And then the two meet, they strike up a friendship. They get on pretty well. She gets intrigued by Burt, his interesting way of living, his interesting way of looking at the world, and they become lovers. Is lovers a word you like or don't like? I forget.
I mean, I'm kind of indifferent towards it. If I was with someone, I would never refer to them as my lover.
This is Mark, my lover.
We're lovers. That feels weird.
I will refer to him as your lover.
Oh, you're Jon's lover.
Nice to meet you, Jon's lover. I've heard so much about you.
I'm over there stewing.
So then they kind of struck up an arrangement where she would learn about beekeeping. In exchange, she would help Burt with his hives. This is kind of their little hobby they do together. She has a little apprenticeship. She says he was an inspiration for how one could live very independently and with their own unique sets of rules. I feel like that's you also.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your own unique set of rules.
Definitely.
Pick me up or pay. So he's selling his honey on the side of the road, and he would put his honey in reused pickle jars from the local diner. So it's just like an old pickle jar filled with honey. There's these details that you'll see that'll be kind of inconsistent. Like Burt would say it was a quart of honey that he would sell for $12. Roxanne, and on the Burt's Bees website, says it was a gallon of honey, which is a lot of honey.
That is a lot of honey.
I don't see the average consumer purchasing honey by the gallon.
But you could, because as we all know, I'm sure this fun piece of trivia is that honey is the only food that does not expire.
That's right. It does not expire. It may crystallize, but that's just due to getting too cold, right?
Yep, you just have to heat it up.
Just heat it up. So she has an idea after the summer of her apprenticeship. She's an artist. She's kind of into branding and marketing. She suggests that they can increase their profit by packaging the honey in smaller containers with little bespoke labels, and that they could sell them at craft fairs instead of just out of his truck on the side of the road. But she knew they needed a brand. At the same time, Burt had saved over 200 pounds of leftover beeswax from his honeybees. And he suggested, it's one of those things too. He suggested, she suggested, they both say they suggested it, recycling the leftover beeswax into candles. So Roxanne got a book from the library on candle making, and she got busy learning to make beeswax candles in cute shapes like teddy bears and fruit.
Very cute.
Isn't that cute? Very MoMA.
Very 80s. A teddy bear
80s.
Candle next to that, like Nigel, what's it? That like Duran Duran artwork on your wall.
Oh, yeah.
Nigel something.
It's also like, feels like the era where you would have potpourri in your bathroom.
Oh, yeah. And you've got a carpeted toilet seat.
A carpeted toilet seat. A carpeted toilet seat, and the carpet in front of the toilet, which is just like to catch piss.
It's so gross. And your bare feet are on it.
It is so gross.
It's just a pea catcher.
Mm-hmm. And you know that's not getting washed as frequently as it ought to.
Not at my house.
It should be a daily wash.
Yeah.
So she has her cute little candles, and a boutique in New York City started selling them in the late 80s. And that really kind of started to put their name on the map. They have their early notes of their branding that is really kind of resonating with the audience at the time. Business is really picking up. So they have their honey, they have their candles.
They're just natural beeswax candles.
Just natural beeswax candles. And then Burt gave her a 19th century farmer's journal that had the recipe to combine wax with sweet almond oil to make lip balm, which became their famous beeswax lip balm. At the time was sold in a refillable terracotta pot.
That's cute.
It's
the kind
really
you
cute.
Rub your finger on.
Yes, it almost looks like a little like powder compact, but it's made of terracotta, which I'm like, that's so cute. That's like something like would be in a little boutique in my neighborhood for like $48.
Yeah, for sure. Did you see if there was any on eBay, or do people come across them still?
You know, they're around, but I think that integrity has been lost. I don't know how those hold up. It became their first personal care product. So now it's like, honey, it's beeswax, it's expanding into personal care products.
Building a whole collection here, a whole, what do they call it? Wellness brand.
A wellness brand. So now it's 1991. We're still at the craft fairs to, pay the bills. Roxanne asked their booth neighbor and local wood engraver, Tony Kalik, to make some logos and packaging designs for Burt's Bees. Okay. He's an engraver. He has this beautiful process of engraving in wood. He says each engraving takes 40 hours, and he is tasked with making some logos to put on like the candles and the lip balm. Since that initial commission, Tony Kalik estimates he has made around 100 wood engravings for Burt's Bees. So those are images from vegetables to birds to trees, full moons.
I do love those engravings are great.
Those engravings are so great. He even engraved an image of Burt's beloved dog, Rufus. And he says, each one took between 25 and 40 hours. Most iconically is the portrait of Burt himself. Mm-hmm. So they were talking about having a common image for all the products that would kind of be across the entire line. And Tony had the idea to use a portrait of Burt himself. So they used a picture that was a Polaroid that Burt's mom had taken to create this wood carving sketch of him. And at this point, the most iconic ones were the picture of Burt, and then the one that you still see on the packaging, which is like a beehive that's kind of made out of rope and it has some bees flying around it. And so I love that was like the original engravings.
I wonder if they still have, I would love to see that original. In your research, was there any pictures of the Polaroid? In
the documentary, they show the engravings, but I didn't see the Polaroid.
Probably doesn't exist anymore.
And don't those degrade?
No, Polaroids? I mean, they last. I mean, Warhol's Polaroids are still around, and that's from earlier.
And that's true. If you see how Burt lived, you would understand why a Polaroid might get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
He's a bit hoardery.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do love that it's a brand that's similar to KFC, where they both decided that the head of an old man would be the best marketing for them.
It was kind of intentional because as they're moving into these beauty products and these personal care products, they wanted to kind of take a jab at like beauty standards and what personal care products are like meant to represent. So if like on one side, it's like promoting unrealistic beauty standards, and they're totally on the other side where they say, we're going to put an old bearded nut.
I love that.
On our packages. And it was very provocative. Like you look at it and it catches your eye.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not trying to be like beautiful. It's just trying to connect you to the product. And it was very effective. Burt's Bees became incorporated in 1991 with Quimby, Roxanne Quimby, his wife, lover, business partner, having 70% stake in the company, and Burt having 30%.
Why was it broke? Did she invest more money?
She is the driving force behind the business. He is like well documented saying that is not where his passion is. He honestly would be just as happy selling pickle jars of honey on the side of the road. She is the one who is building it into a brand. She's driving it. She's trying to expand it. And so I think it's
He's
fair.
like, this is all I need to live. Just give me enough to get by.
Just give me enough to get by. At this point, they have candles, natural soaps, perfumes, their lip balm, which was their best-selling product of the time. In the mid-90s, they have a brand's catalog that's now filled with stories, poems, and lifestyle tips centered on their natural lifestyle in Maine. So they're really filling out this world. Like, imagine getting a Burt's Bees catalog in the mail, and it's like pictures of like sunsets at Maine and like the waving wheat and the barn in the distance and the golden retriever. And she put in all this stuff that she's like wisdom from Burt. And he says in the documentary that it was all pretty much bullshit, but it was very effective in filling out the brand identity.
Yeah. They have great branding, I gotta say. They're recognizable immediately in the store. They've expanded. It's that yellow and that red, I believe, right?
Yeah.
They're grouped together. I know they have like lipsticks and tints and makeup and so much stuff now that they probably have dog food and everything, but their branding's great.
It's really good. And you look back at the 90s Burt's Bees, it really has not changed a lot. And I think that's a testament to like how classic it was and how it wasn't trying to be like trendy at the time. It was kind of like anti-trend, putting this old man and like just kind of this old-fashioned product. But it was very, very
It's like
effective.
old-fashioned and not, though. It's like, I feel like the coloring is kind of like modern. But yeah, using an old man and an engraving is old-fashioned. It's like a really nice blend, I think, of two ideas.
Kudos to Roxanne. That's her 70% talking.
Yeah.
So at this point, still, they're pumping, but headquarters went from Roxanne's kitchen, then went to an old schoolhouse that they turned into their headquarters, and then an old bowling alley. Then they started to grow into retail stores. Business was buzzing.
Okay, I see what you did there. Can we replace her saying buzzing with a bee sound?
Yeah, Al, can you do that? I'll try it again and then put in a bee sound. Business was...
Perfect. This is giving also reminiscence of Yankee Candle. He started like in melting crayons in his parents' house,
kitchen.
Then a garage, and then a small space, and now like a visitor destination.
And both wax. Is that the
both
secret?
Candles.
Do we need to like get into wax?
Foam and wax is the way to success.
Oh my God,
Those are my 5 rules.
you are so right.
Hold on, Elton John signed. Never mind, I don't need that.
What was that?
Elton John dropped a signed thing, but I don't need it. He's gotten older, which is fine, but now he only signs with an E.
What's an E?
You don't know what an E is?
I thought that was like a...
Wow. And that's why this week's On Brand is on the alphabet. What's an E?
This episode, that's very Sesame Street, brought to you by the letter E. Yeah. I thought that was like a term for like a robot that signs for you,
That's called auto penning, and that is an issue. Lady Gaga has done it. We're hoping that if these come next week auto penned, she made a video of her signing them. She's like, they're coming. I'm signing them all.
I mean, how long was the video? Was it 30 seconds?
Yeah, but she was like, I'm signing them all with my full name and a heart. Like she literally gave us a message.
Wow.
Because last time she got a lot of heat for only signing an L.
What's an L? So now it's 1994, and the operation is finally outgrowing Maine altogether. They moved to North Carolina to take advantage of tax breaks and a bigger labor pool. North Carolina is very business friendly.
North Carolina is, I mean, not to bring up like COVID, but like a lot of people from LA I found during COVID, like a lot of people end up in North Carolina. I think the housing is cheaper. You get a lot of space. I don't know if everyone's friendly, but a lot of people are drawn to North Carolina.
There are a lot of corporations who've moved their headquarters to North Carolina as well. So like if you work for a big company, I think it is maybe we'll be recording from North Carolina in a year.
Let's go. If it gets me a yard.
it would get you a yard.
And the storage unit would become a backyard shack.
Okay. And then you'll turn into Burt yourself. We'll never see you again.
He's inside stewing, I think.
We just see your silhouette through the curtains. We
Al
can tell you're in your stewing pose.
I brought stew. Oh, I've had plenty. Thank you.
I'm plentiful, Al. Oh, John's stewing. We'll check back in a week. So now
a week?
How long does the stew
I
last?
Stew for a day.
Okay. So now the business is bigger than ever. Everything's pumping. Meanwhile, in 1998, Burt's Bees was offering over now at this point 100 natural personal care products in 4,000 locations with an excess of 8 million. We're in Whole Foods. We're in Cracker Barrel. We're in CVS. This is when I feel like 1998, if I'm really being honest, when this happened yesterday during Doughboys too. We had to take a picture.
Because I think it goes off even if I silence my phone.
Sure.
Do people know about this?
I thought I had said it on here. I don't remember. If I haven't mentioned this, every day at 1:11, I take a photograph of myself, and I've done it since January 1st, 2010. And that's all it is.
If I'm being honest, 1998 feels like when Burt's Bees really became on my radar.
Can you imagine a world? It's 1998. Mm-hmm. Titanic's only going to be in the theater for another month.
Yes.
You're like, I'm going to go see it for the 14th time. Uh-huh. You finish. You go out, and you have 4,000 places to choose where you can buy Burt's Bees products.
It just makes me so sad that I can't go back because I'm imagining.
Well, you can probably buy it in more places now, but you would have to rent Titanic.
Leaving the theater, tear-stained cheeks, regaining composure, and then I pop by a CVS and pick up a yellow tube of Burt's Bees lip balm.
Nothing better.
Simpler times, man.
And I know we joke about Matt Damon being able to do anything, but I do think this is a role he could sink his teeth into, and it'd be one of those ones where he'd get nominated for it because he would... Oh, wait, I keep thinking of Burt is fat. I keep thinking he would have to gain weight. He would just have to grow a beard.
Yeah, no, he'd have to be like Castaway. He'd have to lose like
he'd have to get really
70
thin.
pounds.
And he could just have a fake beard. So maybe he won't get nominated for this, but he would still be great for it.
I think if he lost 70 pounds, he could get a nom. They like when people do that, do extreme body modification for a role.
Yeah.
And this counts in that.
Yeah.
So distribution now is just on a larger scale. They've expanded their different lines. They now have like sugar and milk-based lotions and bath products. They've got their baby line. They got their dog line. It's like, it's just blowing up.
And they can never go vegan, though, right? Because bees are not considered vegan.
There are parts of the vegan community that believe honey exploits bees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I guess they're not vegan, but they are everything else. They're like Leaping Bunny certified. They're like 80% recycled, carbon neutral. They're doing everything right on that end of like checking all the boxes, but they're not vegan.
Leaping Bunny.
Leaping Bunny means no animal cruelty. They're not like rubbing, not rubbing chapstick in a bunny's eyeball.
In a dog's eye.
I'll tell you what's not doing well at this point.
Well, let me guess.
Let's just say, between the lovers, things are not quite as buzzing.
Oh, bee population is dwindling. We're killing all the bees.
The lovers, Don. Who are the lovers in this story?
Oh, Burt and their lover.
Burt and Roxanne.
They're not doing well.
Former lovers.
He's pissed that she's getting so much now.
Well, I'll tell you what she's pissed about. She's pissed about.
Okay.
Burt, he does fool around with some college girls who work in the retail stores.
Okay.
At this point, he is in his 60s.
He's like, that lip balm, I created that. You use my lip balm on your lips. How about using me on your lips?
Oh, that's good. Do you think
Not
he said
really,
that?
Huh? Yeah, that's probably his pickup line.
I mean, he probably looked like a traveling hobo, like hopped off a train.
He seems like he would stink.
Yeah, I think he's not using the soap as much as he's shelling it based on how he looks. But that, you could say, put a damper on the relationship with his... I'm not sure if they were married, but they were definitely together.
Right.
She wasn't happy about this. The relationship had already begun to fracture. This was like the nail in the coffin. So what do they do now? They're co-founders, essentially, of this business they have built. And how do they part ways? Amicably, somewhat amicably. Roxanne buys out his stake in the company for $130,000.
That's it?
In 2008.
That is worth $400
8 years later,
million.
Burt's Bees was acquired by Clorox for $925 million.
Oh, my.
He missed out on several $100 million.
So you're saying that because he gave up oh God, how did I want to craft that? He gave up
Where are we going with this?
You'll see. I won't get it right, but he gave up the bees for a little bit of honey.
Oh, that's actually really good.
Thank you. It took me a minute to get there.
I really like that.
Thank you.
So Burt remained involved in the company with the title of company advisor, but what that mostly
annual
means,
salary of $40,000.
He gets paid to do personal appearances.
KFC, same thing.
It's a very, very similar. He shows up at store openings, and if you watch the Burt's Buzz movie, he every couple of years goes to Taiwan because apparently he has a very robust fan base in Taiwan. That's his one international stop.
This is KFC.
It's very, very
the Japanese similar. KFC Christmas bucket.
It's very similar.
Did he stew on the fact that he missed out on hundreds of millions of dollars, or he's like, I'm cool?
This is what I mean about not stewing. He claims that he cares very little about material success. He says many times, like, all he really needs is like the land and the sunset and the view of his property and his dog and his oatmeal. He's not
and
somebody...
few young women.
And a few women who are maybe 22.
Yeah.
He's not somebody who is going to be greedy, but he does still do these appearances, so you have to assume that he cares a little bit about supporting himself.
Yeah. Because he gets paid to be the ambassador.
Yes, he gets paid a salary of something to be the ambassador, but it's not, millions and millions of dollars as it would have been. So I don't think there's any stewing happening, though he did not speak to Roxanne, his former lover. They were kind of like estranged after that. And I think he feels like, he does say in the documentary, he maybe should have had like a lawyer or whatever work it out a little bit. I don't know. He's an interesting guy. And I genuinely believe that he never would have taken the business at all, even close to what it ended up being. It really was her who made the business what it was.
Right.
He just like found a beehive and somebody gave him like everything was kind of like fell in his lap. It's not like he pursued any of this. He's living in like a chicken coop you see in the movie. I mean, he's like, he doesn't care about the millions. He didn't care about being a millionaire.
That reminds me of another brand we talked about. I'm blanking on who, but there was something like, they kind of thought of it, but it definitely would not have gone where it is.
Yeah, and that does make a big difference. And so I see
I
her
don't love
earning
that it
the
ended up with
7% stake.
Clorox, though. That seems like such a yin-yang of ideas. Like, and maybe Clorox isn't bad. I think just because it's a bleach and it's ruined a pair of my Converse, I'm like ain't stewing over it. But I feel like Clorox is like, I picture that like in a factory, the cloud smokes are making like skeletons with crossbones. It's like, whoa.
Yes.
And then you've got like cute little like jellycat bees like squirting out. I guess they don't squirt out honey.
They squirt honey
pooping
out their butts.
honey, and we're making like rubbing it in our lips, and we're all cute.
Yeah, and I think that was Clorox's move to try to expand their portfolio to get into the natural, because that is very profitable.
Wellness also.
Exactly. They want to change what we think of our association with Clorox. And he says, aside from working at Clorox, they were all very nice. So he didn't have anything really bad to say about them on that end. And I would say if anybody wants to see more of it, they should watch the documentary, because he is a very interesting guy. And hearing him speak, he is inspirational. And I think of his way of life as very sweet and inspiring. On an also sad note, I will say he passed away in 2015, a year after the documentary was released.
Oh, so he saw it.
I'm guessing he saw it, but he doesn't have a TV. So
he saw it. He had to have seen it.
I don't know. He says he got rid of his TV in like 1965. He like gave it to someone.
He never even saw the Brady Bunch.
He never saw Titanic.
He never saw Friends.
If you're a Burt's Bees fan, Burt's Bees did a merch drop that is super cute.
Really? Recently?
Recently. In fact, everything's sold out, so you have to get on a wait list for it. This is the water bottle. It looks like a big chapstick tube.
Oh my God.
It's like a Hydro Flask style water bottle. I'll post a picture of this, and it looks just like a giant tube of the lip balm, which is so cute.
I love anything that's pop arty like that.
They have really cute socks. They have a yellow sweatshirt and red writing. It just says Burt's. It's all really good stuff. So whoever's doing their branding now, I mean, kudos to them. This stuff is all really good. So you can hop on the wait list for that. They make so many things now. I mean, it's like they have a clothing line. They make like baby pajamas. It's everything for skin. It's everything bath products. They're just in that world.
Is it still owned by Clorox, or has it changed hands again?
It is still owned by Clorox, and it's still $1 billion company. So Burt's is not going anywhere.
Wow, $1 billion. And what's crazy, it is really a brand that I pretty much only use their one most basic item,
Mm-hmm.
their OG lip balm.
Yeah.
Do you know if their OG... Chill with the OG. God, I hate being an influencer. Do you know if their OGLB always had spearmint in it? Because that is what I think the original, or the one I use, is like honey and spearmint.
The recipe has changed over time, and people even say, we hear this so much.
It's nothing like it was when I first got it.
People even say in the past like year or so, they're like, the formulation feels like it's changed. It's
I do think ever since, this
Sure.
is twice I'm bringing up COVID. I don't want to bring up COVID, but I do think a lot of ingredients had to kind of be finagled with supply chain issues and stuff. So it would not surprise me if they've had to come up with new formulation.
You mentioned the spearmint scent flavor to the lip balm. Do you know about the dangerous social media trend sweeping the nation among teens?
Yeah, where they're putting Burt's Bees in their eyes.
How did you know this?
Wait, is that real?
Yes.
Shut up. I was like, what's the dumbest thing a kid could do?
It's called Beesin. And it is a trend that involves applying Burt's Bees lip balm to the eyelids.
Oh, I thought that's better. I was picturing just like...
Just rubbing it. I mean, it's basically that. It's
Kids are so stupid.
This is one of those things, too, where I'm like, this came up in 2014. It was like on the local news. And then it came back again on TikTok as like, watch your kids. Are they doing this? It's one of those things where it's like, did even one person ever do it? Or did it just kind of become got its own momentum somehow and then became called like a craze? And then maybe kids started doing it because they saw that it was a craze. So it had like a reverse effect.
Yeah.
They thought that if you put the minty Burt's Bees lip balm on your eyelids, it will cause a tingling or burning sensation that will enhance feeling high or drunk. Or if you're not high or drunk, it will promote a feeling of alertness.
The things people are willing to do to get high.
Yeah.
As someone who just has no interest in being high.
Did you ever do any of these things like as a teenager? Where there was one where word got around if you ate a spoonful of cinnamon, it would make you like a little high.
No.
There was one of those with mixed nutmeg and orange juice, and you drink that and you'll feel something. What you'll probably feel is like sick.
One of the things we did that was so stupid is there was like a thing where you would rub a pencil eraser on your hand for like until you got a big welt. And that was just, either someone did it to you until you couldn't take it would make more sense, or you did it to yourself. Like it was just like a feat of strength.
Kids are so dumb.
I wasn't into anything like that.
Yeah, we don't want ouchies. So I don't think that this is a real threat to the youth.
I think another one of ours when I was young, like we thought it was so rebellious to just eat straight Jell-O powder. That's the generation I'm from.
I mean, speaking of that, jelly packets at a diner.
Oh yeah, jelly packets.
Knock back a couple jelly packets.
On road trips, I would suck on sugar packets, like just a paper sugar packet, and you're like, oh god, this sucks. It's just paper. But after like a half an hour, it starts to like break down. You get like one little sugar crystal, and you're like, okay.
Wait, explain this.
What?
The packet? You put
the whole packet.
You don't empty the packet and dump the sugar in your mouth.
No, a sealed sugar packet in my mouth. I'm probably the only one that did this. I don't think this was a trend. Dangerous
new trend sweeping the nation. I have never heard of this.
Probably just me.
You would suck on just a sealed sugar packet, and then after like 20 minutes of swishing around in your gob,
it's
like a little
time-released sweet treat. I'm in the back seat sucking a sugar packet, rubbing Burt's Bees in my eyeballs.
This is like what people do with like that chewing tobacco, and it's like in a little pouch, and they put it like in their lip to get like a little bit of like nicotine. You do that with sugar.
One packet. I'm not filling my whole lip up with it.
When was the last time you did this? Is this like when you're like 12?
I have one in there now. I can't do a pod without it. I gotta say, this merch is cute, but pricey.
It is pricey.
$150 for a hammock, and not like a fancy hammock, just like a piece of fabric.
I think it's like that's a collab with another company. It's like Burt's Bees with this company Eno, so it's like maybe like a camping outdoors. But like a pair of socks is $20, which feels like the going rate these days. A Hydro Flask is $30.
I will say I wouldn't hate, and I'd actually really like it if a listener sent me the patches. Because I am going to make I'm going to put them on my jeans. There's a patch that looks just like, and it looks like you get 3 patches for $10. That's very reasonable. I can give you the P.O. box.
Okay. I like the yellow sweatshirt that says Burt's. And I like the socks.
Babe, that's expensive. Our listeners can't afford that. I'm only asking for $10. You want $52.
Okay, how about the Buzzy winter socks? Those are $20. So 10 each. We each get a sock.
Wait, the sweatshirt only has 4 stars. Let's see what one person said bad about it. Oh, one person just clicked 1 star but didn't say why.
See, if you're gonna do anything
give me
less
1
than 5,
star, tell me why.
Come on.
And then someone wrote, "It's giving Winnie the Pooh with L-O-O-O-O-O-O-L." They're really cracking themselves
Wow,
up.
their like roommate was like, "Are you okay?" They heard them like laughing that
They're
hard
still
in the
typing
kitchen.
O's. I'm fine, just laughing.
So that's the story of Burt's Bees. And as I mentioned, this was heavily influenced by the documentary, which will be maybe a little bit skewed to Burt's side of the story. The About Us page of the burtsbees.com, it's from Roxanne's POV. So you're getting more about, it was her idea to do these things. It was her education.
I love it. I'm always happy to have a woman who builds up an amazing brand who gets no recognition for it, and the brand is named after a man.
I mean, it's a really good way to look at it because she made it what it is today. The fact that you can recognize a yellow lip balm tube from 2 miles away is because of her.
Yellow and red, classic colors, mustard and ketchup.
McDonald's.
It makes you think of comfort food, fast food. I love it.
Well, we kind of spoiled in the beginning. After
Actually,
everything
I've changed my mind. I've stewed for the last hour. I hate Burt's Bees. No, I of course, it's still on brand for me.
This might be a hard-on. Is it a hard-on brand?
Let me feel. This is a hard-on brand.
This is a hard-on brand for me as well.
Yes. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you did this one. It's been on my list for a while, and I've started it, but like I then picked something else. So I'm glad that it's now on brand canon. I learned about it. I didn't have to do all the research. So bravo.
I'm going to show you a picture of Burt from Burt's Bees.
Okay.
And you can tell me if you think he is hot.
Hot or snot.
Hot or snot. Okay, so this is him this is him as a man. So he's quite beardy and quite thin. Do you see him?
Oh, not hot. No. Boo. Oh, this is probably right before death.
I mean, he was kind of like a wily old coot.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's cranking off to a tin of hand salve.
Babe, this is on brand.
Oh, that's right. I don't think anybody's falling in love with the man engraved in wood.
I'm not going to lie. The picture you showed, he's in that black turtleneck thing. Mm-hmm. It's giving serial killer vibes.
Yeah, it's a little Manson-y.
I'm going, is that the young picture you were talking about where you're like, he was hot?
I'm going to find a young picture of him. They're in the documentary a lot, but.
I mean, the hottest image of him is the etching.
Wow.
While you're looking that up, I know we record on Fridays. Next Friday I have a conflict, so we're going to have to figure out another time.
Oh, no.
Because Lady Gaga album's coming out, and I'd like to be available. Now, I know I already have several copies.
Wait, no, not the same one that you just bought.
Well, listen.
5 signed copies of.
Hear me out.
Okay.
So, we're very fortunate to live in L.A. I've ordered several copies of the signed
from
Gaga.
Canada.
From all over. Those come with a signed insert.
Okay.
It's just a picture that's included with it. What has been happening for the last year or two in LA on release day at Amoeba and a couple other places, they will get a very limited amount of signed the actual album.
Oh, okay.
That's what the collectors want.
Okay.
So I need to be available at 11 a.m., actually probably 10 a.m. until about 12 to see if that's going to happen.
Okay, so that's fair.
We can talk about this off mic, but I thought you would enjoy making fun of me for that.
I like that your work schedule, this is a job,
it is
revolves around the availability of a signed merch.
Listen, Lady Gaga has only released 7 albums. There's only been 7 days where this would affect this. So I feel like it's justified. It's very on brand for me.
Run it by Alistair, see if he gives you permission.
We'll talk next week.
I can't find a picture of him young, but they're in the documentary, so I'll pull up a screen grab of that.
All right, well then I will stand by my decision that Burt from Burt's Bees is not hot.
Wow.
And probably killed some of the young ladies he slept with. All right, so before we go, I'd love to give our shout-outs to our Insta Egg winners this week. This was for the Nerds Insta Egg. I had a lot of fun with this. I put up a bunch of iconic nerds. People really enjoyed it. People are like, best egg ever. Okay.
It was a cute egg.
I'm proud of all my eggs, but I'm glad that you enjoyed it. If you're not aware, every Wednesday in our Instagram story, I post an Insta Egg. It is a puzzle that allows you to figure out what our brand is going to be that week. If you get it right, you get a freak badge, which I send to you on DM, and you get your name added to the Wheel of Freaks. I spin the wheel 5 times and pick 5 Freaks of the Weeks. I'm thinking about changing the rule, maybe for a minute, and giving Freak of the Week to the first person that guesses it right, and then spinning for 4 people. I think cool. I'm going to try that. If the same person keeps getting it first, I may scratch that. But some of these people jump in so fast. I'm so impressed how quickly they get it. So I may do that next week.
That's great.
Anyway, this week's Freaks of the Weeks are Tim Donovan, Dana Gremlin, Sammy Havens, Kate Loyce, L-O-I-C-E. I assume you pronounce that Kate Loyce, and Heidi. So congratulations, you guys. Thank you so much for playing the game. Congratulations on being Freaks of the Week. And new Insta Egg next Wednesday.
I love that. And while we're giving shout outs, I'd like to give some shout outs to some lovely listeners who've left us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. We have Nicking Nanaj says, on brand is on brand for me. What could easily be a cynical dissection on consumerism, Yawn, is instead a fun and fact-filled celebration of brands we all know and love, hosted by two charming hosts with amazing chemistry. She didn't mention anything about how one of the hosts is stewing at the other host.
I'm not stewing at her. That's Nicki Minaj, the original Nicki Minaj.
MJZ5448 says, we're on her Mount Podmore. I thought it was a her. Maybe it's a him. Who knows? My Mount Podmore. Dolio says, came to the show to learn how to create a playful logo and catchy phrase for my direct-to-consumer startup AI corduroy pajama company. Unfortunately, this show didn't deliver. However, I did learn that Cracker Barrel has a warehouse full of decorations. 5 stars. You do sleep in corduroys.
I do.
Corduroy pajamas. I think that's $1 billion idea. Take it to the sharks. If you haven't left us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and some kind words, please do. It really helps us out morale-wise, and I believe it helps boost the show. You know, tell your friends if you like the show, send them a link, say, hey, this really cracked me up.
You know, every time I read one, I gotta say, and I think this will also be merch, it helps smooth the stew. That would be great merch. Like, I gave a 5-star review to help smooth the stew.
Maybe cool the stew.
Oh, you don't like smooth? Smooth, ooh. They both got oohs. Cool.
Cool has ooh. Cool stew.
Cool. God, you always end me on a stew.
I was so close to getting out of the stew.
Just remember, we may go off topic, but we will always be on brand.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Find yourself looking for a new job or change in career? Monster.com is here to help. We are not only here to bring you job postings, but also AI interview prep and salary tools, expert career advice, and top-notch resume services. We've got everything you need to land your perfect job fit. Discover the magic of finding the ideal job with Monster.com. Your future starts now. Visit Monster.com today. Your next job opportunity is just a click away.